in my experience, I found that without resilience and without taking daily measures to boost our resilience, we suffer. This is me about 7 years into my career as a 911 dispatcher for the Los Angeles Police Department. I did 10 and a half years under the headset at the LAPD. Any LAPD folks here today? No? LAPD is a huge agency. I was one of 500 dispatchers with a cadre of 60 supervisors, one of actually the single largest division in the Los Angeles Police Department, communications division is, and there's a lot of calls. We process 3 million calls for service every year. It was nonstop. And for most of my 10-year career, I was taking on the stress of the job, and in my shoulders, in my attitude, and in fact, when this picture was taken, I was suffering from all the attendant effects of stress. I had daily tension headaches, migraines, ulcers, indigestion, anger and frustration at the slightest thing. And it wasn't only at work that this anger and frustration was coming out. I was also a hardcore road rager, fighting for justice on the LA freeways. My apologies if I met you on the freeways between the years of 2003 and 2010. I was that person waving choice fingers out the window, blaring my horn at the poor little old lady trying to navigate a left turn on busy LA surface streets. I'm not proud of what I did. And I thought that all of my tension and stress was because of my job at 911. But when I started to use tools for resilience, which I'm going to share with you, I started to look at my life more critically to boost my self-awareness. And I found out that not only was I working full-time at 911, I was also nurturing a toxic relationship outside of work. It was that type of relationship that needed to end like a year earlier, but we were still holding on for dear life. And then I was giving all of my other free time, what was left of it, to a failing side business. I was investing sweat equity. If you don't know what that means, it means I was volunteering. So I was working full-time at 911, full-time on the toxic relationship, full-time on the side business. What do they say about all work and no play? I was talking with a tenured dispatcher last night at the Mixer who's about to retire with 30 years on next year. And she's healthy. She's got a good attitude. I said, "How do you do it?" She says, "I have a life outside of work." Wow, what a novel idea. Doing hobbies, exercising. These are all keys to boosting resilience. I was not doing that. I was work, work, work. And as a result, I was not very friendly to callers. I admit here on this stage, I have a disciplinary record with the city of Los Angeles. I had 3 sustained citizen complaints. Something had to change. Something had to change. And I was snapping not only at callers, but also at supervisors and coworkers. And you already heard about my road raging. And there was a 1-week period where I knew I had reached a breaking point. Luckily, a friend of mine was teaching a stress reduction class, and I said yes to it. Within 6 weeks, my life changed dramatically. The first thing to go was that toxic relationship. Now, I'm not advocating any of you go out and break up with your significant others after this talk. I'm just saying that's what happened to me. Within 6 months, I knew that I had to share these tools for resilience with others. I started a stress reduction program at the LAPD 911 Center, and others were demonstrating the same power of taking time for themselves. It was really, really amazing. At the 7-year mark, I made this pivot. So for 3.5 more years, I worked at LAPD, and I got to provide better customer service. I got to be the type of dispatcher that I would want if I needed to call 911. And it was about that time that I got that call that I will never forget. It was from a 15-year-old boy who is having a tough time at school. His parents were going through a divorce. I said, 911 emergency. Operator 237. I said, "Yeah, I'm going to commit suicide." I said, "Oh, okay. You want to talk about it?" And he explained his story to me, and instantly my heart went out to him, because when I was 15 as well, I went through similar circumstances, similar challenges at home and at school, and I also had contemplated committing suicide. And so I talked with him as I was creating that call for service, and I kept him on the line until I heard that knock on the door. And I said, "Someone's there to help you." And when he said, "Thank you," I knew that that was why I was doing this job. I know you've been there as well. So how do we keep showing up? How do we keep doing this work that gives back to us when we allow it to? That's resilience.